This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
Welcome to Performance Insight. I am Abiola Salami. This show is designed to build models of excellence in the marketplace and in the nation. Whether you are a man or a woman, young or old, professional or an entrepreneur, I believe you can be a model of excellence in your industry. As a model of excellence, you are required to deliver high-quality results in your legitimate work. You are required to leverage your competence, character, creativity, courage, and compassion to go above and beyond the call of duty to deliver the very best possible results every time. And your result today must be better than your result of yesterday. When you have this understanding and you commit to delivering excellent work based on this understanding, you will generate better results, become exceptional on your team, in your organization, and in your industry. You will have a reputation of excellent performance in your industry. And that is what it means to be a model of excellence. We need models of excellence in our families across the continent of Africa. We need models of excellence in industries across our continent. We need models of excellence in governance across countries on the continent of Africa. That is the way Africa can become the giant in the world. Over the past 2 decades, I have served leaders in the private, public, and social sectors, and I have discovered 5 crucial skills anyone seeking to become a model of excellence in their industry must master. On this season of Performance Insights, we have been looking at one of those skills. The skill is called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is so powerful. I wrote a book about it. The title of my book is The Magic of Emotional Intelligence. So we continue to share insights guided by my book, The Magic of Emotional Intelligence, to enable you deliver peak performance in the work that you do. This week, we will explore the topic 10 interesting excuses top executives give about their mental and emotional health.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
Imagine a journey where every setback transforms into insight, where every risk opens a door, and every quiet moment of reflection becomes the foundation of bold action. Imagine an opportunity where you can forge your own trail, illuminate the hidden potential within, and guide others to find their light too. Imagine a time when you can step into your own space, where courage meets curiosity, and every challenge is a chance to grow. At Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp, DASIL, we believe leadership is not something you were born into. It's something you awaken. It's the spark that grows when you challenge the familiar and step into the unknown. Join us at Livingstone, Zambia in July 2025 for DASIL 5.0 to rescale, reflect, re-strategize, and rejuvenate for peak performance. Contact us on hello@abiolachamp.com or call us on 0909-123-4567 to reserve your seats. Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp, DASIL, where transformational leadership is reimagined.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
Interesting excuses top executives give about emotional and mental health. Business executives are typically at the top of their mountains when it comes to leading their organizations in the marketplace. In the corporate world, success is mostly measured in quantitative terms and not so much in qualitative terms. This means that based on the traditional definition of success, a business executive who is dysfunctional in his or her personal life can be considered a maverick if the numbers on the books are looking good. This thinking and culture makes it difficult for conversations on emotional and mental health to become mainstream because a lot of organizations haven't yet drawn a straight line between emotional and mental health of the executives and the bottom line. Thankfully, more progressive organizations are championing the cause of emotional and mental health awareness, even though a lot of such campaigns are quite performative. Now, here are some excuses that executives are using for not paying attention to their own emotional and mental health.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
You don't just want to succeed, you want to lead, you want to rise. You are not just chasing titles, you are building something that lasts. Your vocation is more than a hustle, more than the next milestone, more than late nights and big dreams. For you, it is leadership, not just a business, but of a vision of a future. You want to grow with purpose, think sharper with clarity, lead deeper with presence, speak better with confidence, move faster with power. The Made for More Accelerator program is here to equip you for the leadership journey ahead. With structured learning on productivity, communication, relationship building, executive presence and emotional intelligence, we will equip you to be the kind of leader who inspires change, builds wealth, and breaks limits. You will gain opportunities that will stretch you, mentors that will challenge you, and a circle that won't let you play small because you are built for more. At the Made for More Accelerator program, we will equip you to own the room, to inspire your team and build a legacy. It is time to grow into the leader your vision deserves. If you are ready to grow into that leader you know you are meant to be,
visit www.abiolachamp.com/made4more or contact us on 0702666680, 08 or hello@abiolachamp.com to reserve your seat. Made for More Accelerator Program. Cohort 4 is holding from the 11th to the 15th of August 2025. Made for More Accelerator Program, creating the future today.
This leadership development program is an opportunity for emerging leaders in the public and private sector organizations to gain insights that will equip them to drive exponential results in their organization. Now, you may be wondering, who is an emerging leader? Because you've asked, I will tell you. An emerging leader is a high potential individual within your organization who demonstrates leadership qualities, initiative, and a drive for growth, even if they don't yet hold formal leadership positions. You need to pay attention to the emerging leaders in your organization and develop them so that you can sustain growth and continuity for your organization, so that you can drive innovation and new ideas, so that you can increase employee engagement and retention, so that you can build a stronger organizational culture and enhance your business performance. When you don't develop them, you risk leadership chaos and organizational collapse because you won't have capable successors to take charge. This vacuum will degenerate into confusion, fear, and disastrous decision making, sending your business into a downward spiral. Without fresh leadership, the company becomes outdated, rigid, and completely outpaced by competitors. The market moves forward while the organization stagnates, slowly fading into irrelevance before ultimately your organization becomes obsolete. And then the few high potential employees you have will eventually abandon ship because they can see clearly that there is lack of career growth in the organization for them. And what do you think you would have left? You will have a disengaged, demotivated workforce drowning in frustration, leading to toxic culture, leading to burnout, and skyrocketing turnover costs because you cannot generate revenue to meet with your costs. Poor leadership choices will lead to reckless decisions, operational failures, and revenue collapse. The company will lose its market position, your investors will move their money away, and your company's reputation will crumble until eventually there is no business to run again. I know you don't want this to be your outcome, so you can't wish away this kind of outcome by doing nothing. What you need to do right now is to register the emerging leaders in your company for the Made for More Accelerator program. You can visit www.abiolachamp.com or SMS your name and email to 070-2666-8008. I take that number again, 070-2666-8008. and we will share registration details with you.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
One of such excuses is in the statement, "I don't need therapy." This must be one of the oldest excuses in the bag. Executives often assess themselves solely by their successes in the professional space, not the challenges in their personal lives. Culturally, therapy in the African context has a connotation of being a solution for weak people. It's even worse for men because it directly attacks their ego and sense of control. To be in therapy for most executives is to be vulnerable, and they would rather climb Mount Everest than sit down for such sessions. These executives assume that a high intelligence quotient compensates for everything, and because they are usually at the highest echelons of power, submitting to the authority of someone who's most likely below their pay grade can be a difficult thing to do. Usually, it takes a dismal professional failure for such an executive to come to terms with their need for therapy. Truth is that some highly celebrated executives today are failures in waiting, but this future dismal failure can be avoided if you seek therapy. Another excuse that senior executives give for not paying attention to their mental and emotional health is in the statement, "I am not mad." Again, another reason they don't prioritize finding help for their emotional and mental health, thinking that it's only for mad people. No. You see, your refusal to manage your emotional and mental health challenges is not from a place of ignorance or arrogance, but a place of shame, if this is your thinking. Because leaders like this don't want to be identified, associated, or categorized as one of those people who have something wrong with their heads. Emotional and mental health is not about having something wrong with your head. It's about preventing yourself from having something to go wrong with your head. This response, thinking that emotional and mental health interventions are for mad people, it speaks to the need for acceptance and conformity. The top executives that don't want to be labeled as different, it says something about you. Because groupthink sentiments can be so powerful regardless of a person's level of education and exposure. It will demand a lot of reorientation and awareness of what emotional and mental health is all about, so that the stigma and shame attached to it will be drastically reduced. Emotional and mental health interventions are not for people who have mental health issues. They are to help you not to degenerate into having mental health issues. Another excuse that top executives give about not seeking emotional and mental health interventions is they'll say therapy is too expensive. Now, although it must be said that while seeking professional help for emotional and mental health could be somewhat pricey, it's usually a small price to pay when you compare it in the larger picture of the overall costs and benefit. In economics, expensive is a relative term. If a product or service offers more utility than the monetary value that it costs to purchase it, then that is a rational choice. At the core of personal productivity is a sound mind and a sound thought process. If that is compromised, then nothing of significance can be created by any top executive. So, to dismiss emotional and mental health issues over monetary cost, which is ultimately inconsequential when you compare that with the possibility of failing in your career, it's at best insincere. Top executives who are quick to budget huge amounts for trivialities shouldn't honestly say that investing for professional services about something as important as their mental and emotional health is expensive. One reason top executives don't pay attention to their mental and emotional health is in an excuse that they give, which is, "I am too busy." This excuse sounds a bit too familiar, because here such top executives agree that seeking professional help for their emotional and mental health challenges is great, but somehow they just don't have the time for therapy. The image of therapy many of such leaders have is talking for hours and hours to a long-winded counselor who would bore them to death with irrelevant conversations. Nothing could be further from the truth. Executive coaches, counselors, consultants, and therapists are well aware of the hectic schedules of top leaders. We are aware that you can be busy. So many of us will develop flexible models that include virtual sessions, self-assessments you can do on your own, and preferred hours to make service much more accommodating for our client's schedule and preferences. This excuse opens another dysfunction for such executives, which is a lack of effective time management. As a senior leader, it is important for you to always remember that the most significant person that you need to lead is yourself. And if you are not leading your time well, it is an indicator that you need the help of an executive coach. An excuse that leaders give for not paying attention to their emotional and mental health is in the statement, "This is just the way I am. Take me as I am." Humans are generally resistant to change, even though we talk about change a lot. Most people want change, but most people don't want to change. Most people would rather for other people to change for their sake. But if you want meaningful growth, you will know that you need to commit to a process of change. Many people have adjusted to their traumas and have seemingly built a coping mechanism around such nasty experiences. Seeking professional help for such traumas that have messed up their emotional and mental health for so long would mean taking off the mask that they have used to cover themselves, that they have carefully built over the years, and come face to face with the root of their pain. Coming face to face with the root of their pain seemed to be too much for them. They would rather continue their lives than deconstruct those layers of alter egos and heal into their authentic selves. So they come up with the lame excuse, "This is the way I am." Other leaders are scared to find out who they could become on the other side of getting professional help. So they prefer the familiar to the possible. So what you want to do is to task yourself, because there is a better you on the other side of intervention.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
So mediocrity, as far as champions are concerned, is a performance they've delivered before. No. It's not just below average. English dictionary says below average. For a champion is something you have done well before, but you cannot afford to go back to it. You did it very well. We celebrated you. It was an excellent performance on that level. It is mediocrity to go back to deliver that same thing.
There is a need to balance emotional intelligence to be able to lead effectively and efficiently, so that at the end of the day, you can have a team that can actually deliver their best.
Experience, and I recommend this training and conference to every team lead, anybody in a leadership position in an organization.
And I'm hoping, to hear from him soon, even in other conferences or sessions that he may be having. I am 100% willing to participate because of how intellectual and informative the session was, and I'm truly grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, Abiola Champ, for delivering such a wonderful session.
And so it's been a very interesting training with Abiola Champ. Thank you.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.
One excuse leaders use to explain why they are not paying attention to their emotional and mental health is in the statement, "Everybody does this." Everybody is doing it. That is a fallacy of generalization, and it is usually used in corporate environments where toxicity is entrenched, where toxicity is accepted and it's a staple, because the leader would explain that, well, my boss did it to me, my boss's boss did it to my boss, so now I'm doing it to my team members. That is insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. In essence, the ecosystem rewards such bad behavior that there is no incentive to unlearn it. The company continues to elevate toxic people who are delivering on the numbers, and with that they are spreading toxicity, endorsing toxicity in the organization. So you have toxic leaders because the moment you meet your target or you meet whatever KPI that has been set for you, despite your toxicity, you are elevated. And then the organization endorses that kind of behavior. What you are not looking at as a board or as executive management is that you are losing a lot because people cannot be motivated to think creatively to solve any problem in that kind of environment. So you are losing employees who show up, but they are present, but they can't be as productive, as innovative, as creative as they are supposed to be, because nobody thrives in a toxic environment. But because you are not measuring those things, it appears as though everything is okay. For example, many top executives don't see bullying their colleagues from the perspective of having an emotional and mental health challenge, because what bullying really speaks of is a lack of healthy self-image or self-esteem. It's just masked by aggressive behavior towards the other person. They rather explain it away by saying, oh, that is how people survive in a space that is akin to a shark-infested water. Hence, the best form of defense is attack. No. There is a psychological defect in that kind of leader. Such top executives find solace in the fact that the society is seemingly indifferent to their untoward behavior. So the absence of sanctions or consequences makes them double down on their dysfunction. When you bully people, it is a sign that you have low self-esteem. When you need to gain when your ego is boosted by pulling anybody down, it is a sign that you have psychological issues. And it's important as leaders that we pay attention to this. Another thing leaders say to explain why they don't pay attention to their mental and emotional health is they will say, it's not that bad. This excuse comes from a perspective of cognitive dissonance and intellectual dishonesty. It is an attempt by top executives to gaslight people by downplaying the gravity of their emotional and mental health challenges. This view is prejudiced, especially coming from business executives, because judging by the power dynamics within the organization, they are usually high up the totem pole, which means that there are fewer voices that can challenge such people on the negative impact of their actions on others. It is very rare to see employees on a much lower cadre stand up to someone in top management. Even the human resources manager, who should be the point of call for those who seek redress, are more disposed to protecting their personal interest than ensuring the right thing is done. The lack of moderating influences for top executives usually hurts them. So what you want to do as a senior exec is you want to check yourself. Look at the leader in the mirror. Do you need help? Then get help before it is too late. Another excuse leaders use to defend why they don't pay attention to their mental and emotional health is they would say, I can handle it on my own. This excuse borders on self-help. Here, a top executive believes that he or she, based on many years of experience, can apply a do-it-yourself solution to their emotional and mental health challenges. This excuse is underpinned by expertise in other areas of lives, especially their professional endeavors. So you will believe that because you've been around for 2 decades or for 3 decades and you've won several awards and people keep applauding you, that it means you can do anything and everything. Any leader that extrapolates success in one or more areas of their lives and use such metric for determining their ability to solve problems in other areas of lives shows that they are ignorant. In doing so, you underplay the level of skill that professionals use to manage emotional and mental health challenges. And it takes a level of respect to acknowledge that just as you are an expert in a particular area of field that you currently play, someone else is an expert in another area of life. So you may not be able to fix this on your own. Seek professional help. Another excuse leaders leverage to defend why they don't pay attention to their emotional and mental health is they would say, I don't talk about my issues to strangers. For top executives, they are within their rights to be concerned about how much personal information can be shared with third parties because, owing to their being at the helm of affairs, Such information could be weaponized by their rivals and used for a smear campaign which could hurt the fortunes of their organization and their families very quickly. However, a simple solution to this is the involvement of legal counsels who will adopt memorandum of understandings, non-disclosure agreements, and confidentiality clauses that will protect the executive. There is no guarantee that even with familiar faces, personal information will be safe. So, if you need professional help, but you are uncertain of the integrity and the character of the professional that you are engaging with, you can have legal clauses that binds this professional service person from divulging information. One of the most interesting excuses leaders give for not paying attention to their emotional and mental health is they would say, all I need is God. Now, the overly religious executive who hold extreme views about their faith don't believe that there is anything wrong with them. And to engage in therapy will mean to imply that a perfect God didn't create a perfect human. One of the things we say in CHAMP is, I am perfect as I am now, and I will remain perfect as I learn and grow. Learning and growing and improvement is part of perfection. You see, anybody that holds the Puritan view that a perfect God cannot create an imperfect person downplays the effectiveness of interventions. Some extreme views even reject interventions such as blood transfusions, taking medications, engaging in therapy. Any top executive that embraces a perception of divinity that signifies that man-made solutions demean their spirituality do not really understand divinity. Because every intervention that therapists, medical practitioners, every intervention that we have developed that has evolved over time, everything came from that same source. The notion that man-made solutions demean spirituality is misguided because first, the very definition of human implies to be imperfect. And most of the solutions to human problems were discovered by those who took time to pay attention to what was divinely created and found solutions from those things for mankind. For example, people were inspired to create the aeroplane from studying the science of how birds fly in the sky. And it only presupposes that God can use people to help other people, even in so-called non-spiritual ways.
Thank you for joining Performance Insights with Dr. Abiola Salami, a platform curated to build models of excellence for the marketplace and the nation. To watch the full video on today's topic, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and also watch more videos to boost your performance. Just type Dr. Abiola Salami on YouTube. Also, follow us at Abiola Champ on all social media platforms and Dr. Abiola Salami on LinkedIn. The magic of emotional intelligence is available as a virtual course. Visit www.tppafrica.com/academy to sign up. You can book Dr. Abiola Salami to facilitate at your next board meeting, management retreat, or monthly performance review. Simply call 0702-666-8008 or email us on hello@abiolachamp.com.
Join me same time next week
as we explore more lessons from my book, The Magic of Emotional Intelligence.
This is Performance Insight with Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist.